Nobody has a right to parenthood. Children are not objects that you have the right to possess. There are a lot of theories for why, of the top 20 or so political podcasts, the overwhelming majority of them are conservative leaning. The same is true of opinion programming and primetime cable news. The most successful ones are all on the right. But if you think about it, it's not difficult to understand what's going on here. As a practical matter, most commentators and politicians on the left are extremely difficult to listen to. And that's not because they lack speaking talent or charisma, although a lot of them do. And it's not because they lack resources or funding. That's certainly not the case. Instead, it's because their ideology, more often than not, does not withstand a significant amount of scrutiny. Spend 10 minutes listening to these people and you'll hear all kinds of nonsense and contradictions. It's unbearable to the point that you just want to turn it off, and many people do. So
I agree with Matt Walsh here. I'm subscribed to him. I don't agree with everything he says. I also have a photo of him doing the Uttara Bodhi Mudra, which is troublesome. I hope he's not part of the club because I like what he says. He stands up against a lot of things that I think people should stand up against. This video is about Pete Buttigieg, disturbing adoption story exposed, the truth about surrogacy. And Pete Buttigieg is a homosexual man. He's a politician. And recently he adopted 2 children with his husband, right? This stuff makes me cringe very, very, very much. Well, what do you want? Children to be lost in foster care and be adopted and do this, that, and the other? And in an ideal world, a child or children should have a mother and a father. I grew up without my dad in my life. I've never known my real dad. I grew up with my mom and my grandma and grandpa, so I had my fatherly influence, which I wouldn't trade for anything. My grandpa was a wonderful person. I pray he's safe with the Lord. I love him very, very much, and I miss my mom every single day since she passed away. I understand some people saying, well, don't you want children to have some parents at least, right? If it's a homosexual couple, like 2 gay guys, well, that's better than them being lost in foster care, right? No, I wouldn't say so. Having 2 men that are homosexual, it is an abomination. It truly is. It is sickening. The world doesn't want to think so, and the world might hate me for saying against it, but I'm going to stand up for the truth anyways. 2 men trying to act like parents to baby infants. This is absolutely disgusting. And for these people, I'm sure it's like a political statement, right? It's like, we'll just move on with the video a little bit and see what Matt Walsh has to say.
Let me give just one example, if you can stomach it. Here's former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg explaining how he acquired his 2 children. Watch.
So we were in what's called a surprise adoption scenario. So we I was at work, I was traveling, we got a phone call, Chaston called me, and the next day we were in a rural Midwestern hospital holding him in our arms, and they were like 1 day old. Wow. Like it was like that. Like just from like normal life to and by the way, it's twins. Which was amazing.
You didn't know it was twins
before. We were just on a list. Wow. We said that we were willing to adopt, or we wanted to adopt. We said that we wanted to adopt without regard for race. By the way, anybody who says race is not a thing in this country should experience an adoption process where there are literally different lists. If you say that you want a white kid only, versus if you say that doesn't matter. Wow. Like literally a different list.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
The list for white kid only is longer. And not only that, there was actually a discount, or you didn't have to pay a deposit on the fee.
Oh my goodness.
This is like how it works. Yeah. I couldn't believe it.
So as you can tell, everybody on the set appears to be disturbed about the fact that, according to Pete Buttigieg, it's cheaper to acquire a black child than a child of another race. This is supposed to be taken as proof of the fact that America is fundamentally racist or something. And thankfully, Pete Buttigieg is not a racist, so he boldly accepted the discount that he received on his 2 mixed-race kids. The implication is that in a true post-racial utopia, nothing like this would happen because black children would cost precisely the same amount as white children. But the reason this conversation is so unsettling, of course, has nothing to do with race. It's unsettling because a middle-aged gay man is talking about how he flew in from out of state to purchase children that he has nothing in common with so that he can raise them in a motherless home and use them as props for his political career. In other words,
Exactly. Like, if people can't see this, and I don't think every case is like this. I know people that have been adopted, and I'm glad they have been, and they have a family to live with. But when politicians that are sold out to the devil purchase kids to promote their career and to make them seem like family men, it's horrifying and disgusting.
the real outrage is not that Mayor Pete got a discount for purchasing mixed-race children. The outrage is that he was able to do it in the first place. And you'd think that that would be an uncontroversial statement in post-Civil War America, but of course it's very controversial, even on the right. From the moment that the concept of gay parenthood first took off about a decade ago, social conservatives were met with derision for opposing the idea of men adopting children. But in the end, social conservatives have been proven to be 100% correct, as we have been about literally any other issue you can name. We have been right about everything. This is one of them. Children who are raised by gay men ultimately face double the risk of depression in adulthood, along with much higher rates of anxiety and obesity, according to research by the sociology professor Paul Sullins. They're also at a significant risk of being sexually abused, even though nobody wants to talk about that. Recently, a gay couple in Georgia were convicted and sentenced to 100 years in prison for the systematic rape of 2 young boys they adopted. Nobody at the adoption agency wanted to, or perhaps was legally allowed to, ask any serious questions about why 2 gay men are looking to adopt young boys. So the boys were sent to the home with no further questions and subjected to unimaginable torture as a result.
Yeah, that stuff happens in the world. And if people bring it up, well, what are you talking about? You're being homophobic. You're being racist. You're being this, that, and the other. No, this stuff happens, and homosexuality is perverse. It's an abomination and sin. And if you're trying to raise innocent children and bring them into that, I'm kind of lost for words.
Now, in an attempt to address these concerns, we were told that homosexuals should be allowed to adopt children because it's better for a child to have 2 dads than to be left to wallow in the foster care system indefinitely. That was the argument. And it wasn't really a defense of the idea that children should be raised by 2 men in an ideal world. Instead, we were told that the alternative was even more horrifying. To the extent that this argument was persuasive to anybody, it hinged on the idea that a critical mass of gay men are interested in raising children out of the goodness of their own hearts, children who are, had been put up for adoption. Now, I didn't find the argument persuasive personally, but a lot of people did. But then a funny thing happened. Many gay couples decided that they actually don't want to adopt other people's kids. The whole argument for gay parenthood, as wrong as it was, turned out to be, in so many cases, a red herring. A study by researchers at King's College in 2019 found that over 60% of gay men considering parenthood actually prefer surrogacy as the method instead of adoption. In recent years, that number has only increased. And in practice, this means that men are shopping for eggs as well as women to carry the children for them, looking for body parts to rent. And even though Pete Buttigieg won't pretend to be upset by it, all of this people shopping entails a lot of uncomfortable value judgments that implicate genetics, as mothers are screened based on their educational level, eye color, athleticism, and so on. The result is that children are not being rescued from unfortunate situations like foster care and being placed into loving homes. Instead, they're being conceived with the intent of placing them into unfortunate situations. With everything that's happening in the economy, it feels like we're all walking on shaky ground. Prices are stuck at a really high level, and it seems like nothing is affordable anymore. It's no sell hair care products on the internet. They all try to do what these 2 parents are.
I just wanted to skip his ad there because I like Matt Walsh, but I don't agree with everything he says. And, he makes a lot of money from his channel and he's sponsored, so he has little ads in his videos. I just like to skip that stuff because the truth is free. Okay? Can we all get that? I don't monetize my YouTube channel for many reasons. One of those reasons is I love Jesus Christ and the truth is free. You don't need to advertise on your channel to make money to tell the truth.
Alleged parents are incapable of doing, and pay close attention to the children. Watch.
I'm going to say right away, this to me is absolutely terrifying, horrifying, disgusting, and an abomination. I cannot stand this. If you think I'm a homophobe, I am not scared of gay people. I'm disgusted by them. Look at these people with their infants, showing them off as tools to the world. Like, we're going to watch this clip, and I hope you're horrified like I am.
Wow. Kyle, you want to sit on my shoulder? Oh my gosh, you're so tall. You want to sit on my shoulder? Wow. No. Kyle, look at all your balloons. Do you love it? Do you love it? Come on, let's go look in here. Wow. What a berry wonderland. Look at this place. Look at this. So beautiful. Look. Aunt Courtney is so talented. Kyle, you want to sit on your throne? Ready? This has your name on it. Okay, ready? Sit right here. Sit right here. Here's your ball. Ball. Dylan, here's your ball. Distract him. No, put it in his hand. Well, they're mounted. Ball. Kyle. Okay, ready? Let her take a picture or a video. Ready? Dylan.
I just find this that's hard to watch. Those poor kids, kids need.
That is very hard to watch. That guy's hair in general, and just the whole oh my God, I talk like this and blah,
A mother and a father in the home. They need the masculine and the feminine influence and role model in the home. These kids will have neither. They're not going to have, they have no mother, at least not if they do have a mother, but they don't have a mother that's going to be in their life. But I certainly wouldn't, I would not call these men feminine. I would not insult women by comparing these men to comparing these men to women. So they don't have the feminine, they don't have the mother. They also don't have the masculine. They don't have a real father. Like whatever these guys are,
they have neither.
And so, this is far worse than kids being raised by a single parent. This is essentially having neither. And so you see
it's an abomination to God and to anyone with common sense.
These influencers, they're giving instructions to these children like they're dogs so that they post the pictures that these two men want to take, not even pretending to care about what the kids want to do. Hey, look at the balloons. You like that? Well, no one cares. Now sit in the chair. And in response to these instructions, the children are behaving exactly as you'd expect them to behave. They're treating these two men like strangers because that's exactly what they are. There's no connection here. There's no affection. It's entirely artificial.
Yeah, exactly. It's so artificial. There's no real love. My mom was a single parent. I grew up with my mom and grandparents. I felt love from each one of those people in my life to the extreme. I grew up completely loved, and I am grateful for that, and I thank God for that in my life. This kind of stuff horrifies me beyond words. It is so fake and artificial. Homosexuality is sin and abomination. These feminine men want to parade their little kids, their infants around like they're props. It is absolutely sin and abomination and disgusting. These people should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
And, it's not just one bad video that we're talking about. If you go to these two men's social media accounts, you can find a lot more videos like this one. The children mostly appear to be kind of confused and worried. They're being shown off like props as they're dragged from one set to the next. Here's one more from shortly after the children were born a year ago. Watch.
Confessions of a New Dad. I have never been more in love in my entire life. Nathan is with...
Look at his nails. Look at his face. Look at his hair. Look at everything this man, quote unquote, is doing. This is absolutely an abomination, and it's disgusting that he's holding an infant. I am repulsed by this.
Dylan in the NICU, and I'm in the room with Kyle, and they're just perfect. I love them so much. They're gorgeous. They're already so advanced, so perfect. I love you, Kyle. Get that boy cry. I love you. Look at her. How could you not love her? Look at that face.
Social media.
Yeah, well, if you love her, how about support her head so that you don't break her neck? That's.
I'm going to cut it off here, everyone. I will link this video from Matt Walsh below. Matt Walsh, if you or your people are watching this and you want to strike my channel for some reason, please don't do that. I agree with you, and I'm just trying to share this information. I'm doing a so-called reaction video, so there's a lot of play with that, right? When you do reaction videos, you're allowed to show clips, and if you talk ever so often in the clips, you can show it. I'm not trying to take away from you, Matt Walsh. I do appreciate what you do on your channel. I agree with a lot of what you speak of. You're a family man. You're a man of God. I hope you're a true Christian. Again, I do have a picture of you doing the Uttara Bodhi Mudra, which makes me concerned. But, you know who you are. You know if you're doing that. You know what you're doing, right? I hope so. But again, brothers and sisters and everyone else, I don't want to seem mean to gay people, but they do a lot of stuff that is absolutely disgusting and antichrist. Having two men that are feminine, that do their nails and wear makeup and just everything else, and they have two infant babies, and they're like, oh, I'm your parent. And it's a prop for them. It's a prop. That's disgusting. If you have a child, you should love it unconditionally. You should love your child unconditionally. I grew up with my mom and grandparents, which loved me unconditionally, and I loved them unconditionally. Like a real family life. Homosexuality and children does not go together. It just doesn't. Do I want children to be lost in foster care and not have parents and all that? No, I do not. But what we just witnessed, can you honestly say that that's an appropriate home for infants or children of any age? Can you say that's appropriate? Because if you do say that's appropriate, you need to get your head examined. It's an absolute abomination. That is not a way to raise children. It is disgusting. It really, truly is. I am grateful for people like Matt Walsh, even if I don't agree with everything he says, and he does throw up the Uttara Bodhi Mudra, like I mentioned. I hope he's not part of the club, but we need to stand against these things. Innocent children need a dad and a mom. And again, I know that's not possible in all cases. Again, I've never met my true birth dad. I've never met him. He didn't want to be a part of my life. But I had my grandpa and my grandma and my mom as parents in my life, and I'm beyond grateful for that because my grandpa, he was my father figure. He was a wonderful man. He passed away last year, and it pains me. I hope to the Lord that he's safe with the Lord because he was a wonderful man, married to his wife, my grandma, for over 70 years. having 5 children. I don't need to get too personal into my personal life and my family, but I'm just trying to say, like, family matters. It really does. And when you have an artificial family with like flamboyant homosexual weirdos doing family life because they think it's like gonna give them kudos on online or something, like, give your head a shake. It's disgusting and it's an abomination. It really truly is. I am not a hateful person, but I'm not going to sit here and go, well, everything is acceptable in God's eyes. Just do whatever you want. Sodomy, Sodom and Gomorrah, sodomy. Get what I'm saying? God rained down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah. Why did he do that? Because it pained him that these people were acting like they were acting. That's one example. Once more, I love people and want them to go to heaven. I pray about it. I talk about it. If you can't hear the sincerity in my voice, then you're deceived. I know there's no lying to God. I do not lie in my life. Have I told lies? Of course I have. But do I lie to God? Do I fake things on this channel? No, I do not. I show things the way they are. And to the best of my ability, I try and tell people the truth. I want people to be saved. Homosexuality is not fine. 2 homosexual men that adopt 2 baby infants is not fine in my mind. I agree with Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is telling the truth, and he does a pretty good job of it. I will say that. I agree with much of what he says. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I appreciate his channel. A lot of people watch him, millions of people. He's got 3.2 million subscribers, so he's got a lot more subs than I do, and he's getting through to people. What we just witnessed was sin and abomination, and it's not the proper order of things in this world. And we shouldn't applaud it. We should be revolted by it and say, no, these children need a mom and a dad, or at the best, a straight mom or a straight dad that is not homosexual and other things, I'll just say, right? We just listened to what happened, right? Homosexuality is sin and abomination. It is grotesque, and when you get children involved, it is even worse. Okay? That's what I'm saying. If you don't like what I'm saying, leave me a comment. You don't need to be rude about it, but leave me a comment why you think I'm wrong, because I do not believe I'm wrong about this. 2 feminine homosexual men adopted baby infants, and they treat them like props. If you don't think that's an issue, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, honestly, okay? God bless you, everyone.